Hey everyone, it's Shyvadi. I know we've all been very patient, and especially you guys, but my NDA is officially up, and so I can finally reveal everything I know about Shyvana. Everyone was wondering what the new Shyvana passive was going to be. Even I was before I went to go playtest it. And honestly, it is a better passive. It's nothing super crazy, but it is a real passive this time. The old passive obviously gave us armor and magic resist for killing dragons. It even gave us 20% bonus damage on dragons. Both of those things, at least the dragons part specifically, is essentially gone. However, the defensive scaling is even better now, as we get to kill enemy champions, large minions, large monsters, and we get bonus armor, MR, W amp scaling, which I'll get into later, and even HP now, after you ult. Now, based on the feedback that we provided about this passive, I believe they added W, shield amp, and ultimate HP into the mix, which is definitely a bonus. Having just armor and magic resist is not really that impressive, obviously. And I believe the old version, at least a version that we did test, even increased her champion size at one point. I'm not sure if that's still a thing. It might be, although it looks like they've opted for HP instead, which I am quite okay with. Up next, I'm going to talk about Shyvana's Fury. Essentially, her Fury is exactly the same, fundamentally speaking, where her max Fury gives her her ultimate, although how you get your Fury has altered a little bit. So one thing to note is that yes, you will generate Fury while you're dead. That is a very good quality of life feature. However, the passive Fury generation is extremely slow compared to how it is now. How you get Fury is exactly the same as before. You just auto attack champions, auto attack enemy jungle monsters or your jungle monsters, or anything else for that matter. However, enemy champions will actually stack your Fury even faster than jungle monsters, and so maybe you do want to gank before you have your ultimate now. Now to talk about Shyvana's Q. Now, this Q ability is unique in the game in one sense, but in another sense, if you were ever a Riven player, ever in your life, you will find a strangely nostalgic feeling to playing this champion with this new Q. In essence, the fast combo of Riven is exactly how you're going to be utilizing Shyvana's new Q ability. You're going to be auto-attacking, pressing Q, auto-attacking again, pressing Q again, auto-attacking again, pressing Q again. And that's exactly how the Riven Q works, except it's on easy mode, so you don't actually have to animation cancel for this to happen. It's simply just how the ability is executed. As for what her Q actually does, well, for one sake, it actually has the passive of the percent max health damage with magic damage on hit. The version I tested had a very small amount, I believe it was 1.5%, but it is on Q now. First Q is an AoE punch, the second Q is a tail smack doing slightly more damage, and the Q3 is something that was heavily debated. Essentially, it's a Camille Q that can crit if you have Sundered Sky, and is considered an execute because it's single target, but it was heavily discussed, and I'm very curious to see if they kept the version we tested. Next, I'm going to talk about Shyvana's new W, which actually has two casts now. The first cast, which you can see the icon for there, is a shield and move speed, which is similar to how she has her W now, except you don't get that flaming aura around you, you just get the move speed and a shield. W2 is a recast which operates exactly like Sion's W, and the only part that is noteworthy there is if you recast it too early, you will actually lose the move speed from your W1. Now there's even a special secondary effect if you're in dragon form while you're recasting this W, and that is you will actually get a percentage based heal if you hit a enemy champion or jungle monster. Another thing to note about Shyvana's W is there is actually a lore reason she gets a shield now. The icon for Shyvana's W is the exact sigil that Jarvan gives Shyvana in the recent Fury introduction cinematic, and Jarvan Light Shield giving Shyvana a sigil. I think something is related there. Finally, we come to Shyvana's E ability. Now Shyvana's E has changed quite a lot. First very noteworthy thing is that it now slows on hit, which means your little explosion that you also get on the new Shyvana's E in human form will slow AoE if you hit multiple people, which is very, very useful, although that is a little bit hard to aim, at least on range. It's also a little bit slower than the previous E. It doesn't have the on-hit effect, that's now on Q. And in dragon form it does have multiple explosions if you hit multiple people. So overall, I would look at the E as a more utility ability at this point. It's less damage, a lot less damage, and while I was playtesting, the AP variants did not actually do that much damage at all, unfortunately. So I will say that unfortunately AP Shyvana, how it used to be, is no longer going to be. Now we come to Shyvana's ultimate. Now Shyvana's ultimate is a fear. It is also an instant cast similar to her old ultimate, with the exception of it being no longer a knockup and no longer a clump together. It's actually the inverse of that now, where it is a fear away. Now the consequences of this being a fear means that you can't really use it as a reliable engage in a teamfight. As what you'd be doing before is clump them up to burst them all down with your Q, but now it seems like you'd be using this as a way to isolate a single target away from their teammates, which is definitely how I would be using it. And another noteworthy thing about her ultimate is that actually with every rank, your ability size and champion size will increase in dragon form specifically. Similar to Asol, I guess. Now I will be making a build guide obviously when Shyvana comes out, although I will say that the builds that we playtested mainly consisted of Shojin Sundered Sky, and this was back in the fall, so this is pretty funny that that is our go-to build now. Sundered is obviously because of the third Q, but who knows, maybe there could be a new build based on attack speed, because considering her Q is auto Q, and you get your second Q up faster, it's possible there could be other builds, although I would say that the Bruiser style, HP style Shyvana is probably here to stay. I could definitely see a lethality Shyvana, considering they're adding HP to her scaling as well. We'll have to see. Time will tell. I'd like to thank all of the Shyvana community for helping this happen. I couldn't have done this without you guys, honestly. The open letter I sent to Riot over 2 years ago now, if it hadn't gotten as much attention, I don't think any of us would have been able to go. And I hope I did you guys justice by providing the feedback that I could while I was there.